Hello and welcome back to episode 2 of the 2026 NHL Playoffs. How about we just get started with what is wrong at Pittsburgh? This team, in my opinion, were supposed to be the one to win this series in 5, and right now Philly's showing them up with a 2-0 lead in the series. So that's kind of shocking to me, but how about we get into the gritty details of this game? Now, I want to say congrats to Vladar for his first post-season shutout, but as well as his first shutout in the 2025-2026 season. In the 51 games that he tended in Philly, he did not record a shutout this season. So this is his only shutout in the 2025-2026 season. Now, Martone once again scores, making him the 12th teenager to score in back-to-back playoff games. Garnet Hathaway also had a 1-goal, 1-assist point, which helped them win 3-0 against Pittsburgh. The insurance marker was Glendening in the third period, scoring on an empty netter. It is not working well in Pittsburgh. Like I said, they're usually a very strong face-off team. Right now, they are losing the face-off circle to a 57%, 43%. Their penalty minutes are way up. They had 52, and they had a lot of giveaways. They are just not there. This is not the Pittsburgh team I have watched all season, especially in the face-off circle. They also only had 2 shots in the first period, which is ridiculous. We need to bring more offense to there. But on the Philly side, wonderful game. Having a 2-0 lead on their Pennsylvania rivals is a good motivational and momentum boost going back into Philly on Wednesday. Now, Senators and Hurricane brought it to second overtime, a thriller. But Hurricane did manage to win 3-2 against Senators. Now, this game, there was a disallowed goal in overtime, but Martinook did steal it back in the second overtime to, once again, give them the 3-2 lead, to give them the 2-0 lead in the series. Logan Stankoven, after his 3-point performance in the last game, this game he continues with a goal. This guy is hot. Frederick Anderson keeps showing that, yes, he's old, but he can still help a contending team with awesome goaltending in the back. Aho, their captain, helped with a pass so that Aho could score. And by captain, I mean Jordan Stahl, not to confuse any of you. Sanderson for Ottawa did post a 2-assist night. But again, is this kind of a little bit of luck for the Hurricanes? Because you look at the stats, and Ottawa has won 53.8% of their faceoffs compared to Hurricanes 0.2%. But Senators have trouble converting on their power play. It's 2 physical teams. Ottawa had 52 hits. Hurricane had 43, if I remember correctly. These are defensive teams that are able to counteract with a good offensive counter when mistakes are made. But Ottawa is going to have to really find a way to optimize on their awesome face-off percentages to try to either convert into goals or find a way to start a play from the defensive zone to help them get into the offensive zone to score a goal. It was 2-0 though for Hurricanes, so I got to give props to Senators to bring it back 2-2. The next on the list would be Wild versus Stars. Now, if you guys remember, the Dallas Stars got absolutely pummeled 6-1 in the first game of that season. And let me tell you, it was a shocker. I'm still hoping this series is tight, and this game has shown that it can be, with the Stars winning 4-2. But that first game hit hard for Dallas, and they had to regroup and find something to do, and it looks like they did. But yet again, we'll see if this stays or if this is a fluke. Now, Wyatt Johnson did score 2, and his empty netter at the end was kind of a reassurance marker. But before I talk about a little bit more about the Stars, I do want to talk about Brock Faber. The young defenseman for Minnesota scored 2 goals. So that was a nice feat. His first multi-goal postseason game. Now, Jake Ottinger stole the show. He had multiple game-winning saves, high-danger breakaways, just high percentage shots that he took away and made Minnesota's life a living hell. With that being said, Hughes put up a point. Kaprizov put up a point. The faceoffs were close, 54-46. Shots on goal, 32-30. So this was a very tight game. I am hoping, I'm almost praying that Minnesota and Dallas can keep this style of game for the rest of the series, and that we don't go back to the blowout that we had in the first game. Because these games are way more fun to watch. I mean, the Wild fans will probably love watching that 6-1 game, but for the rest of the people who are watching because either their team is not playing that day or their team is just eliminated since November, like Chris's team, it's just a lot more fun to see tighter games. Now, game number 1 of the Ducks and Edmonton. I had mixed feelings about this because I am going to support the Edmontons in this series due to the fact that we're Canadian. But I've really liked how the Ducks have played this year. So it's kind of a bittersweet for me. More on the sweet side when Edmonton won 4-3. Now, Edmonton did go up 2-0 after the first with Dickinson and Kasperi-Kapanen both scoring 1 goal respectively. The Ducks then decided, hey, we can do that too, and we'll do one better. In the second period, the Ducks scored 3 goals. They opened up the second. Within 19 seconds, they had a goal. So that's a hot start. But the big factor of this was Troy Terry. He had an amazing second period. He had 2 goals and an assist. And on top of that, John Carlson had 2 assists. So these 2 guys in the second period showed their team, we're still in this. Let me put myself first and put you guys on my back, and brought them to a 3-2 lead against Edmonton. Now the third start, back and forth, and then Dickinson would score his second goal of the game with 9.5 minutes left. And then Kasperi-Kapanen with 1:54 would score his second of the game to give Edmonton a 4-3 lead, which would then give them a 1-0 lead into the series. Now, this is the first postseason game that Edmonton wins, and that Connor McDavid does not register a point. So that was fun to see that Edmonton's secondary can help them win games. Now, I say secondary. Draisaitl did get 2 points, so he did help with the scoring. But once again, the fact that McDavid was not on the score sheet and Edmonton still won shows that they are able to keep fighting even if McDavid has an off night. Now, not to say that he won't always have an off night. He is probably going to show up the second game and be like, hold my beer, I got to show everybody I'm Connor McDavid. So, this series is going to be fun. You got the returning second round or runner-ups, I should say, for the last 2 years that are trying to win it for the first time for Canada in 33 years. So any Canadian team who wins it, I will be happy. And Edmonton has a shot. Now, Canadiens versus Tampa Bay was a nitty-gritty game. It was physical. It had cheap shots. It had it all. And once again, it was decided in overtime. And this way, it swung towards Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay would score the first goal, giving them a 1-0 lead. And Montreal would tie it up later in the first to do a 1-1 into the second. The only goal that would be scored would be Josh Anderson. And when I say a nitty-gritty goal, that is exactly what it was. It was gross. It was easy. It was just there. He was at the right spot between 3 Tampa Bay Lightning players and managed to skip it over Vasilevsky's pad right in the net. And that's just, it was a nitty-gritty goal. Now in the third, a little bit past halfway, Kucherov would seal the second goal for Tampa Bay, tying the game. Now in overtime, a lot of people are complaining about Kirby Dach's little, some people are calling it flimsy. The guy was tired. Like, I understand this is playoffs, and I understand, like, you want him to skate the extra few inches so that it's not an icing. But he was tired. It was a long shift. Give the guy a break. It's one game. There's 3 more to win. We will be fine, whoever is a big Habs fan. But due to the icing, it brought it back to the Montreal zone. They won it, and Moser would score to bring it 3-2. Now, the shots were a little bit one-sided in this game. Tampa Bay had 34. Montreal had 27. Montreal was not doing as well as they did the first game in the faceoffs. They were at a 48. Meanwhile, Tampa Bay were at a 52. So it's still close, but compared to the 61-39 of the first game, it is quite a change. Montreal did capitalize once again on the power play, so Tampa Bay needs to try to stay away from giving Montreal too many power plays. Other than that, a lot of it was pretty close, closely contested, and this series might as well just be overtime games every day. So we might have, in total, an extra 2 games in this series. So that's going to be interesting, and I just can't wait for the next game. Now, LA does venture again in Avalanche territory and brings it into overtime, which they lost. No surprise, but I am shocked with how the Kings keep showing everybody that they can make these games tight. A 2-1 win over the Kings is not what you'd think when you say Avalanche versus LA. A lot of people, including myself, thought this would be an easy sweep, and the Kings, although they're down 2-0, are showing that it's not going to be as easy as people think. So, Roy was the go-ahead and the game-winner goal in the overtime. The first goal was scored at 7 minutes in the third period by Panarin, and then followed 3 minutes later. So during the whole game, there was a 3-minute time where 2 goals were scored, and after that, that was it until the game-winning overtime goal. So these are tight games that LA is giving to Colorado. And in my opinion, I think LA could even steal a game in this series and break the sweep. So it'll be very interesting to see where they go from this. LA will regroup and try to figure out a way to win a game. You have to at 2-0 in the series. Even if it's against Colorado, you got to try something. And I hope that they can maybe shock the NHL world and win a game against Colorado in the first round. Buffalo versus Boston. This one was nitty gritty. A lot of penalties. A lot of late hits, late punches. Just a way to get into under people's skin and try to get the power play or try to get their top players off. And at one point, there was like 9 people in the penalty box. It was just an interesting, kind of gritty game. And Boston showed that, we're not going to blow a lead again because they went on a 2-0 lead with 4.5 minutes left. And as Buffalo people know, they came back last time to win 4-2, but Boston this time was like, nope, we're not doing that. We're going to go into the third period with a 3-0 lead, and then we're going to score 16 seconds in to make it 4-0. And after that, even though Byram and Krebs scored a goal, Boston would then lead to a 4-2 win. This brings the series tied at 1. Shows that Boston is able to hold the lead, because that was kind of embarrassing last time. Arvidsson has a great game, 2 goals, and Pasternak has 2 assists as well. And Middlestat has as well 2 assists. So it was a kind of all-around, I don't want to say all-around team effort, but it didn't come from just one line. Meanwhile, Buffalo's going to have to kind of reassess because, yes, they brought it back last game, but you don't always want to go down 2-0 and 3-0 and fight from behind. Like, eventually they're going to have to find a way to score first and protect the lead. But as of right now, the series tied 1-1, so it can go either way. And they are going back to Boston. And Boston is a hard arena to play in. So the final matchup I want to talk to you guys about before I give you guys free reign to either listen to this episode again or go to our other episodes, as well as you guys should listen to Chris's 2026 NBA playoffs. He is great talking about numbers on this one. Utah would win 3-2 against Vegas, tying the series 1-1. Now, Utah is young and is very talented. Not a lot of playoff hockey, though. Meanwhile, Vegas are a little older, but plenty of playoff hockey experience. So you kind of have the clash of both ends of the spectrum. So, Mark Stone would score with 8 minutes and 18 seconds left in the first, which 3 minutes later, Uyghur would score one himself to tie up the game. In the second period, Gauthier would score another goal to bring Utah's lead to 2-1. And Barbashev would tie it up a minute later. So it was a lot of back and forth, not a lot of time for the people to have leads. And then another goal would be scored to tie the game. Now in the third period, Logan Cooley would score the go-ahead and game-winning goal to give Utah the 3-2 lead, which went into the night as a 3-2 victory, which would then, as previously stated, 1-1 series being tied. Like Cooley, game-winning goal. Dylan Gauthier, a goal and an assist, giving him 2 points. There's not much to say. Both teams are showing up. Their last matchup ended pretty close as well. It was, I think, 4-2. Yes, it was 4-2. I just corrected myself on that one. So it will be a very tightly contested series. A series that most people thought wouldn't be due to the fact that Vegas has a lot of playoff experience compared to Utah's very little. The faceoffs were cut down 50-50 both ways. They both won 30 of 60, so pretty easy maths. Hits were close, penalties were 14-14, block shots 17-15, giveaway 17-15. So everything was close due to the fact that it's just a close game. There was some good forechecks, some good back checks. The goalies were good. It's going to be a good series. And with that, I will let you guys go. And I hope that you watch as much hockey as you can. And I hope that your team succeeds. Well, that's if you're a Habs fan.